Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to another review, and today I'm taking a look at the awesome new 30-minute missions kit called the Spinatio Sengoku type. This is a crazy cool kit. This is another evolution of the 30-minute missions line because it's completely different. It's sleek, a lot of the joints are completely redesigned compared to what we would have seen before, and what we've got is a more posable, more organic, lighter framed mobile suit. Is it a mobile suit? I mean X-Mac. As usual, this video right here would not have been possible without those awesome people over at Hobbylink Japan, so if you do want one of your own, link is down there in the description. So first up, taking a look at the box, and this is pretty badass in black and red. The Spinatio right there looking pretty cool, and onto the side here to get a little bit of a gist of what we expect to see in here. So that is the Spinatio itself with the Sengoku Armor. We've got a beam rifle and a friggin' sword. So this is the long blade, or a tachi as it says right there. So this is not, I repeat, not a katana. And finally in this kit we do have multiple types of hands, which is awesome, but we don't have enough backs for all of them, which you know isn't that awesome. But anyway, let's check out that Italian samurai right here. So first off, there is the Spinatio without its armor on, and there is absolutely everything that comes in the box. We also get this as well, which is a joint set, which comes in the, I think, limited edition box. This does come in one of the option sets, so we have seen it before, so I'm going to gloss over this like right now. But what we do have in here are the weapons, which is the beam rifle and the tachi, 3 extra hands, which are all holding hands. The type we do have attached are those widespread relaxed type. Then we've got a whole load of armor in black, and this right here is a pair of arm attachment parts for when you're using the armor. The other little thing there right in the middle is actually a kind of little attachment point for the sword, almost kind of like a scabbard-less scabbard. But first off, let's check out the Spinatio itself. Also, we will be looking at this later on. I totally forgot to mention it, but we'll be looking at the Sengoku Armor as well. So the Spinatio is definitely the lightest X-Mac we've seen so far, but even the instructions show that it is a little bit more detailed. So anyway, jumping into that full 360 spin, and there is the Spinatio without the armor on. This is a very sleek and agile looking suit. We do have a couple of hollowish sections round back, which may not be everyone's cup of tea, especially in the waist, but besides that, this thing looks awesome. This also rocks some awesome articulation, so I will throw it in a couple of poses in the background while I read the blurb about exactly what Spinatio is. According to the manual right here, this is an X-Mac developed by the Maxian forces. The units make full use of lightweight and sturdy rare mineral resources that are capable of overwhelming mobility while being extremely solid. They can equip additional armaments without purging their basic exterior armor, and can equip or remove them depending on the battle situation to gain superiority in combat. They've also adopted the connection lock mechanism shared by X-Max units, and certain units have been seen using armaments from other factions. So just in case you don't know, and you may know this already, but I'll say just in case you don't, you can use other parts from other 30-minute missions kits with this kit, whether it's a Alto, Portanova, CL Nova, whatever, you can use it. So at this point in the video, I'd usually talk about the stickers included in the box, but as X-Max never come with stickers normally, that's not really a thing right here. But most other X-Max come with unit marking decals. These ones do not. So moving on to a bit of a size comparison, and these are 1/44 scale, so that means that's how tall the Spinatio would be side by side with a RX 78-2. And next up the size, it would be side by side with one of the first ever released X-Max, which is the Alto. So even without its armor, the Spinatio is a fairly tall mecha, especially when it comes to X-Max. So as for some other X-Max, there it is beside a CL Nova. There it is side by side with an extended CL Nova. Next up beside a Rabiot. And finally, beside a Portanova. So yeah, the Spinatio is definitely a cute little mobile suit without the armor on, without a doubt, but let's take it from cute to awesome by sticking on that Sengoku Armor. So the first thing we do need to do is pop off these particular little shoulder sections. The joints up here are actually quite good. They're very tight. They just connect right on into the body, like you can see there. But there are 2 versions of these in here. The ones that we just saw, which are for when it's not wearing any armor, or should I say not equipped with any armor, it's not a human. And these ones right here, which are for when the armor attaches. So there we go, 1 and 2. So the arms are a little further out now. As for the armor, we've got some thigh armor, which just pops onto the holes here. I will mention that you can put these either either way. I've tried it out and they can fit both ways perfectly, both of which look cool. The way it is there on the left leg pointing down, that's the way it should be, but it does fit the other way too, which is a cool option. Next up then we've got some crotch armor that just pops into that hole like so, armoring up the crotch. Chest armor that pops into the hole in the chest like so. As you can see, it's really changing the look of this. It's looking a lot more beefy and armored already. Flipping around to the back then, we've got some butt armor. Attaches onto the butt hole. That particular piece of armor has added two 3mm pegs on there. Next up, some back armor attaches onto the back like that. Next up, and the last of the symmetry, is the face armor, which attaches on like so, adding that big samurai style, almost Gundam-y V-fin. And now we say goodbye to the symmetry as we pop on the shoulder armor. I will mention, I think the asymmetry is one of those typical buy two of this kit please Bandai marketing technique, so you can have one that looks like that on both sides. And then we've got this type of armor with a peg on that side like that. In this particular kit we get this big old segment right here to add that very armored shoulder flare. The last piece we have in here then, and we've only got one of these, is this part that attaches on to the side right here with a peg for attaching the gun onto and a slot for attaching the tachi into. And speaking of them, let's check them out. But before we go and do that, here is a spin of what the Spinatio looks like with that Sengoku armor on. This has totally changed the vibe of this kit. It now looks a lot more mean, a lot scarier, a lot darker, and all round pretty badass. Once again, it is asymmetrical. If you buy two kits, you can build symmetry of either or look. And as always with one of these kits, there's so many different joints and attachment parts for each piece of armor, they can probably attach them onto all sorts of places to get a completely different feel for your model kit. Now onto those weapons. So now moving on to the weapons, and the weapons we get in here are quite simple, but that does not make them any less awesome. So this is just a simple little beam rifle. Of course, we're going to be seeing parts to make this into big, beefier beam rifles sometime in the future, I assume. There is an angled hand in here, which can hold onto that angled handle, but there is a little bit of bad news, and that is that there is only two backs of hands in here. So that means you've got 5 hands and only 2 backs, which means you're going to have to be, well, pulling them off all the time and swapping them out. After sticking that hand in, this is some real N7 looking colors right here. So next up then, here we've got the tachi, which is kind of like a katana, but a little bit different. It means it's somewhat bigger, and usually for using on horseback, not by a foot soldier. At least that's what Wikipedia told me. Also, according to the same article, you do not attach this in blade up like a normal katana. You put it in edge, side down, like this right here. So with this little gizmo on the side, you can stick in the sword like so, and then pop on the beam rifle as well, so everything can be held right there on the hip, ready for the Spinatio to just reach down and grab one of them. And it is pretty cool, you can actually pull that tachi out without bothering the beam rifle whatsoever, so that's cool. Also, the weapons just attach into the hands in the usual way, which is slide them on in like so, and there is the tachi attached. So honestly, with this kit, you get one hell of a samurai mecha. I have to say, I am blown away by this design. The color, the overall look, the articulation, this is so good. And I'm trying to stop myself from saying that this is the best one of these kits I've seen yet, because I feel like I say that every single time. But that is a fantastic sign when it comes to a line of model kits. I'm not going to go through all the articulation on this kit, but it is fantastic. It's really smart. The double ball jointed ab crunch means you can get so much out of this. The narrow waist, it also has a very simple yet intelligent side crunch that lets it pretty much go all the way side to side, and with that twist and all the other pretty much, well, beyond perfect articulation, you will get any pose you want out of this 100% of the time. So if you love fiddling with kits, love busting some over-the-top action poses, this is a kit that you cannot miss out on. But anyway, let's see what it's like with a few options. So what we're taking a look at now is the option parts set for Sengoku Armor. So we've got a whole bunch of samurai-themed mecha accessories for the Spinatio, or whatever you want to attach it to. Mainly the Spinatio with the head parts up there anyway. And we've got what look like some kind of Zigok-style arms. Now, I've built this all already, so let's get right on into it. So what you're seeing right here is the full contents of the kit, besides a couple of joints that wouldn't stop rolling around. So in the back, we've got a whole host of new armor. In the front, we've got 2 new head options. We've got this claw-like shield right there in the back, as well as what looks like a big old paw and a rocket. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the head options, go on to the armor, and then the weapons. Alright, so we've already seen the Spinatio rocking this brooding samurai flair for a face mask. Let's get that pop off. Simple as that. And then we've got this variant right here, which reminds me of something from Gundam 00. So straight away you'll notice this is in gray, so it doesn't necessarily match with the colors we've seen thus far on this kit, but we do have some gray armor to throw on as well. I just used this one first because I feel it's not quite as over the top as what we're about to see. So off with that face mask. There's the opportunity for you to see his freaky eyes. His face fell off. And on with the second option face. So right off the bat you might be like, well, that's not very samurai-y, is it? We'll enter this little thingy right here. I will mention that this is the underside, so it does have a 3mm peg if you want to use it for something else, but what this is actually for is for popping on here like so. And how badass is that? We've gone from some sort of shogun to a straw hat vagabond ronin. Just look, that is so over the top. I love it. So now working to the armor, gonna pop off the shoulder here because we've got a brand new extremely over the top shoulder armor right here. So that just pops on like a shoulder armor pops on, and it is absolutely massive. So I have one minor gripe with this, and that is this attachment point up here, that big circular one that's on the front and the back, is just begging to use the tip of this rocket here, but the rocket cannot stick onto that. I really feel like I'd love to stick that on, but it's a hole to a hole, so you cannot do that. Of course, it wouldn't be very samurai, would it? But it would be a bit of fun. If you got any kind of adapter, well, like the ones included in the box, and by box I mean this box, you could use one of these adapters in order to attach it. So next up in here, we've got this right here. Now, this is some forearm armor, so you can just pop that into the hole here, or any hole you can make it fit to, but it is designed for the forearm. So now we've got a little bit of extra protection there. Flip this up, it fell off, oh no. Stick that one onto there like that, and now we've got some new back of the armor defense. Did I say back of the armor or back of the arm? I meant back of the arm. So next up, and now we need to purchase some armor, is some new crotch and butt armor. So off with that crotch, off with the butt, off with that little connecty hip part, and now it's time to get that nether region armored up. So this is made of 3 different pieces. That's a front skirting and 2 side skirtings. Once these are mounted on, they will not move anymore. So on that goes like so, and then we fix it all into place with this one right here. So the side skirts, those can move, but the front and back cannot. So anyway, this is what's left of that little platter of accessories, and what we've got is a shield, a claw, and a rocket. Now let's try it all out. So I've stripped it down a little bit because the next couple of things would be a bit hard to see with all that heavy armor on. So that is the rocket, the slap claw, that's not what it's called by the way, and the shield. So first up out of that bunch is the shield, and this is one hell of a shield. It's got a handle down bottom, and even crazier than the handle, because I guess the handle's normal, is these opening jaws for, I guess, some crazy grabbing attacks. But what makes it even crazier is that right there. That is a neck hole. So you can actually yank this thing's head off and attach the shield on as what it says in the instructions, a dragon head. Now this definitely looks a little bit on the ridiculous side, but at the same time it's pretty cool. I'm sure in the hands of someone a lot more imaginative, we're going to see something ridiculous. That's kind of like a xenomorph from Aliens. That is nuts. If the dragon head is a little too much for you, the top of the shield can also do the exact same thing. It also has a neck joint if you want to attach it on like so. It doesn't really look like anything, but it's an option. But anyway, let's harness the power of the dragon, attach on that handle, and then you can just pop it into the hand like so, and that would definitely clash with that big old shoulder if I had left the armor on. So yeah, grabby claw down here, and it makes a fairly decent sized shield. So next up in here is the rocket, and literally that is it. According to the instructions, you just, well, build it as a rocket. In this form, it's just a rocket. I suppose you could mount it onto the Spinatio's back like so, like some kind of jetpack, like, or maybe like a Boba Fett rocket where he kind of leans over and it's like, but But either way, something tells me that the rocket right here was the afterthought version of what we're about to see it converted into. So by taking this here paw section, a couple of these joints that like to run away on me, we can build this right here, which looks like a big old Sengoku arm. Now it says in the instructions this is the bellows type, that the other one was the rocket type, and I had to Google this to see if it actually meant something in a kind of samurai style, feudal Japan kind of way, like some kind of weapon. But yeah, this apparently is just a jabara, which means whatever you'd call that. Yeah, a bellows, I guess. Strange. So yeah, it is not based on anything in particular, but to attach this, you just pop off the arm, pop it on like so. But yeah, what we get in the end is the 30-minute missions equivalent to a Sengoku's arm. So basically a kind of like prehensile, big, almost snake-like mecha arm that it can just swing around. Once again, this is kind of one of those things that in a way prompts you to buy two kits, because you may like a longer one, you may like it symmetrical, or you may like two of the same armor going on. So just so you know, if you're curious, you only get one in this box. So anyway, that right there is it for the review, and I say this every single time I do a 30-minute missions review. This, the Spinatio, is my all-time favorite 30-minute missions kit to date. I love it. The samurai flair is awesome. The underlying kit just gives you so much to play around with. It is as solid as a rock. I never mentioned the build quality. It's super solid. The articulation is so much fun, and it looks badass. I love this kit. The option set is very fun too. I don't like it as much as the core kit itself, but there are some cool options in here, and I can't wait to see what people build with these over-the-top accessories. The straw hat Ronin style head is really cool in here, but for me, the core Sengoku kit is what blows my mind. Anyway, let me know down there in the comments, what do you think of this line? What would you like to see from it in future? As well as that, don't forget to come back for more gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time. As always, I cannot finish this video without thanking each and every one of you guys for watching. Without you, I could not do this. So all my thanks to you, as well as to members of the channel, including Craig Jury, patrons over on Patreon, including Tyler Sanders, Brian Perez, Caleb Engelhart, and Sean T.